What up, guys? EG Scary here, live at the Haunted Lake. Tonight we're going to talk scary stories, conspiracy theories, and whatever else comes to mind.
Sometimes run specials that are better than distortions, but they buy stuff in high volumes.
What up, Pookie? How you doing tonight? Cool. Unfortunately, I can't see it, but I believe you. What else is new? I won't hold it against you. It's all good. It's no problem. You'll live and I'll live. I don't know. I think it's probably because I'm talking softly because usually I'm alone on the lake and now there's people next door and I'm trying not to be too loud. Which is better, the quiet or the loud? Light as a feather, stiff as a board. Light as a feather, stiff as a board. Light as a feather, stiff as a board. When I was younger, I'd go visit my grandparents all the time. They lived in a 1 story house with an unfinished basement. I never liked it down there. It felt small for a big basement. There was a little door down there that was for storage, and all I always got was a horrible feeling. When I got close to it, I felt the sense of uneasiness. And the crazy thing is it was a newer house. It was only about 6 years old. I felt so uncomfortable going down there. Even when I was with someone, I didn't like it. Even my grandma went down there to help me with something, and she had to run upstairs because someone rang the doorbell. She left me alone down there, and I started to get a bad feeling in the pit of my stomach. I didn't move, and I didn't want to. Even though the lights were on, this is where everything started to happen, and it still gives me chills to this day. The lights started to flicker, and I started to hear noises of what sounded like talking. And it was not coming from upstairs, but it was coming from in the storage room right here in the basement. I heard someone say my name. Here's the part that freaks me out the most. The voice sounded like it was my grandma, and I was confused. How the hell am I hearing her when she's upstairs? I didn't want to move, but me being the curious person I am, I started moving towards the storage room door. The closer I got, the worse the bad feeling felt. When I got to the door, the lights turned off in the basement. I wanted to run upstairs. I wanted to go hide somewhere that wasn't that basement. I heard my name again for the second time. It was definitely in my grandma's voice. She was asking me to open the door to the storage room. So I did. I opened the door to the storage room. I couldn't see anything. It was pitch black. I couldn't hear anything but faint laughing that felt like it was getting louder and louder. Then all of a sudden, everything stopped. The lights turned back on in the basement, and I felt fine. I could see everything in the storage room. And right before me, I saw a small clown doll. Why is there a clown doll down here? My grandma hates clowns. I have no freaking idea what this clown is doing down here. Then all of a sudden, the lights turned off in the storage room and back on. and it looked like blood was all over the room. And then the lights went off again, and everything was normal. I think I screamed and blacked out. The next thing I know, I was laying on the couch in my grandma's upstairs, and she was looking at me, asking me if I was okay. I have no idea if that was real or a dream, but it sure felt real. What's up, Salway? How are you tonight? Because everybody knows that when you really pinch yourself, it doesn't do anything. And you could pinch yourself in a dream. But when you're going through some trauma, you don't have the rationality to find a clock. And clocks can be in dreams. See clocks in my dreams all the time. That happens to a lot of people that fall asleep, have a dream, and they tell themselves they're going to try and remember the dream, but then they forget the dream. But then a little while later, they remember the dream or parts of it, or they remember that they had a dream. What's going on in Salway's world tonight? Let me go grab some wood. I'll be right back. So, this next story is called The Creepy Stalker, and this is from Hexter Links. So, this happened when I was 11 years old in the sixth grade, and I sent it to my teacher. Sometimes I'm just always quiet, but one day during my sixth grade period, or my sixth period, which is gym, we do laps. And then when we get to the end, we make a turn, and then there is this big fence. And then when I was running, I saw a 30-year-old guy waving with a wired grin, but kept running. The gym was over, so I packed up and was getting ready to leave to go home. When I was going to the gate in front of the exit, I saw the same guy. I know he was looking, but he was not grinning anymore. He was smiling. So I started to speed walk because I was getting scared. After I got far from my school, I turned back and did not see him, so I was relieved. When I was walking, a blue car pulled up next to me, rolled down the window. I could not see his face. All I heard was his voice. He said, "You look like a nice kid and smart." I just smiled and said thank you, and then he said my full name. I was shocked. And then he told me how he knew my name. Excuse me. I asked him how he knew my name, and then he rolled up his windows all the way, and then he rolled them back down, revealing it was the same guy with the creepy smile. I ran, turned around, and there was the car again. Alright, sorry guys, this story's starting to suck. So, I'm done with it. It's poorly written. I have to keep ad-libbing. Anyway, Sawe. You could think of you can't think of any real life experiences at the moment, but you can share more of your childhood nightmares. Okay, Sawe, I'm good with that. Pookie, do you have any scary stories? Freaky childhood memories? Traumas that won't trigger you that you want to share? Alright, Sawe, hit it. Okay, we're waiting for Sawe to type his out. So Pookie has a story to share, so I'm going to read it. Okay, one time, me, my mom, and my dad, and my brother went to the park. Then my brother did a trick, and I really want to do it, so then I broke my leg. Whoops. Thanks, Pookie. Thanks for sharing. Did your leg heal, or do you have a horrible limp now? Good. I'm glad that your leg healed. So that was a long time ago. When younger people get hurt, it usually heals much more quickly than when an older person. Sawe says, when I was 13, I had a dream where I was sitting in bed. For some reason, I was playing with a lighter, and of course, I accidentally lit my sheets on fire. Well, that's not good. Hopefully, the campfire doesn't bring back any traumatic memories of your burning sheets in the bed. Okay, this is from Pookie. This happened 3 times for me, and I had a dream that I was falling off a cliff. Then I woke up scared, and my heart was beating fast. Yep, the sensation of falling and flying is very common in dreams. Depending on who you talk to, they can have different meanings. All right, so back to Salway's. I'm going to start from the beginning. Salway says, when I was 13, I had a dream where I was sitting in bed, and for some reason, I was playing with a lighter. And of course, I accidentally lit my sheets on fire. I managed to get out of bed without burning myself and ran out of my room to tell my parents. I ran back into my room to see an inferno. Instead, I saw something in the rocking chair in the corner. What do you think it was rocking in the corner? He only said something. Do you think it's a hairless monkey with a permanent smile? Salway says it was a demonic version of me, covered in scars, a big wide smile, and bulging eyes. It screamed as it lunged at me. Right then I woke up. Awesome, Salway. All right, so this story is from The Dark Savior. It's called My True Horror Story. Back when I was in the 9th grade and I was just starting a new school, I was a 14-year-old boy, so obviously I had hormones. Oh, you know what? I already started reading this one, and this was really bad. I don't know why I keep finding this story, and then so this guy's true horror story is that he wakes up in school touching himself in front of everybody, and it's disgusting. So I'm sorry, guys. All right. So anyway, I will tell you guys another story. This is a true story, and it's pretty crazy. So my great grandma lived to be 104 years old, and at my great grandma's funeral, well, it was more like a memorial service, but either way, at the memorial service, um, my great uncle and my uncle were both talking to me. And I don't remember exactly what we were talking about, but my great uncle jokingly said that he was going to be next. And my uncle, who was in his 30s, said, "No, I'm going to be next." So, about 3 weeks later, my great uncle had hernia surgery, very routine, and he wound up dying of a blood clot. And so um, At his funeral, my younger uncle was talking to me, and he said, well, you know what happened at great grandma's funeral? You know, we were just talking and blah, blah, blah. He's like, I guess that means I'm next. Ha ha ha. Well, about 3 weeks later, I got home from school and my relatives from California were on the couch, which was super unusual. And sure enough, my uncle had died suddenly the night before in an accident. And my parents let me go to school without telling me what had happened. And then when we got home, they told me what happened. So, all right, that's a freaky story. So, Pookie has a true story. Pookie says, so I came back from school, then I saw a man looking at me, and I was very uncomfortable with him looking at me. So I quickly ran in the house, and I saw him at my window staring at me. I was super scared. So I told my mom, and she checked it out, but he had disappeared. Well, that is pretty creepy. Oh, well, that's messed up. Your window was in the backyard. So this guy went in your backyard. Weird. Luckily, all the doors were locked. Yeah, that's a good thing. Well, when I was a kid, I was babysitting family members at the house, and like you don't when you're watching TV, you really don't look out the window at all. And um, like we're watching TV, I got up to get I think popcorn or soda or something for everybody, and I heard like something tapped the window, and I looked, and it was somebody staring back through the window watching us, and they accidentally like bumped their forehead on the window. So like I started yelling at whoever it was, and the bushes started moving, and I saw somebody running. So I called the police, and the police came right over, and then I had to drive around with the police looking for this guy, and never found him. But there's creepers everywhere, and they're watching you. They might even be watching you right now. Do you guys hear the wolves howling in the background? That's too bad. They're across the lake, and I actually think they're howling at my fire. Or the moon. The moon is coming up. That's the moon right there. It's coming up from behind the trees. In fact, you know what? Let's go out on the dock real quick and see highly don't recommend doing this. You should always have a flashlight, especially when you're about to walk on a dock. Pookie says, I like my room. It's close to the backyard, and I can look at my dog running around. Then I saw a figure, a weird looking one. I went outside to check it out, but it disappeared. Look at that moon. How long ago was that, Pookie? Was it recently? I want to howl, but I don't want my neighbors to think I'm crazy. But I know I can get the wolves to howl back at us. Yeah, holy water sometimes does the trick. What up, Dee Dee? Look at that moon. The phone can't even focus on it. All right, so I figure it means they want to put a cap in my ass. Uh, well, I wouldn't worry too much about it. Sometimes there's just people on the internet that like to try and get people riled up. Truth, you can't handle the truth. What about now? Can you hear me now? Oh, was there a soccer game on last night around this time? Because I heard uh, somebody was like on the lake clapping and screaming, so they must have been watching soccer. I couldn't figure out what was on. All right, let me go grab some more wood, and then I have another story all queued up. Yep, fire. So, guys, I'm getting some more wood. Don't forget to give a thumbs up and subscribe. We're always doing something. Tonight, we're still stuck at the lake after the car accident. The rental should be here on Monday, and then I can go back. And we'll be making creepy dolls and other things next week. I'm throwing children in the fire. You didn't know? This is a ritual. No, I'm throwing logs in the fire. Well, I'm sorry you think you're sick and or having allergies. Okay, so this story is from Lily Draws, The Woman in the White Dress. I'm not quite sure what to think of it because it's just so bizarre and unbelievable. I might have just been sleep deprived. So last night around 11, I was walking around my block. My town is relatively safe. So I didn't feel in danger. Plus, it was a pretty night. I'd been walking for around 5 minutes when I heard, excuse me, when a pale woman with blonde hair and a white dress caught my eye from across the street. She was about my height and looked to be about my age. I didn't actually pay attention to her after I first noticed her. While I circled back around the block again, She was on the same street a couple of feet in front of me. She was standing on the curb, staring at the cars passing by. It was a main road, so even that late, people were still driving on it. I said hello to her. And she turned and gazed at me. I couldn't see her face super well, but from what I think I saw, she had no pupils or color in her eyes. She just stared at me. After a while, I asked if she was okay. She didn't respond. I simply pointed at the road. Damn, I'm sorry, guys. She simply pointed at the road. I was really confused and didn't understand. Right then, a red car started coming down the road. She stepped into the road. The car slammed into her, and it was a bloody mess. The driver immediately stopped and jumped out. It was a man in his mid-20s. We both spoke about it, freaking out. He called the police, and I went around the car to see the state of the girl. Once I circled the car, she was gone. Not gone as in dead, but gone as in she wasn't there. The blood on the road was gone too, but not gone from his car. After the police arrived, they concluded that this was some kind of big hoax, or the kid didn't know what they were talking about, and this guy went along with it and brought blood on his truck. It was found that the red blood was actually paint, and nothing else has ever happened with this. I can tell you that this really happened and it's real, and I don't believe in the paranormal. But if this was just a dream or whatever, I don't know. But I hope somehow I can figure out what happened. Hey Michael, yeah, she's sick. Well, you asked what that was. It was logs. I said I was going to get more logs. What's up, Nolan? How you doing? Long time since you've been watching us. I'm glad that you're doing good. Pookie seems excited. All right, well, good thing you're not sick and it's just allergies. Oh, KM's here. Good evening, KM. Yes, the gang is all here. And please, everybody, consider giving me a thumbs up. And I think most people that are here have already subscribed. Pookie was the first one here, and Salway was the second one. And we've had a bunch of anonymous people popping in, popping out. I thought you wrote spooker stars, like superstars, but spooker stars. Can you guys hear the wolves now? Well, welcome back. How was your flight? Good. I'm glad you had a good flight. Happy early birthday, Pookie. All right, let's see if we can do this. There's the moon. Can you guys hear the wolves though? They're going nuts as the moon comes up. So tonight we're sitting by this fire and I've been reading stories and Sawe gave a story, Pookie gave a story. Do you have a scary story or a true weird experience? Because Nolan, the other night I wound up crashing the truck, and so I'm stuck up here at the haunted lake until Monday when they finally will have a rental truck for me. So we've been killing time, but there's plenty of dolls that I have to make when we get back. But these wolves are really getting worked up with this moon. No, right now I'm still up north. That's where we all drove to on Sunday. I was driving back on Thursday and I got about an hour from here and I hit a deer. The deer did not survive. Yeah, I'm doing fine. The truck is messed up pretty bad. They uh, they said that the truck will be ready in about a month or so. But it was the deer's fault. It didn't look both ways. Oh yeah, I have food. Well, you would think that they should know better. All right, so this it was an adult deer. It was big. It really messed up my truck. All right, so Nolan says one time when I was in the woods, I heard whistling And when I went back home, I heard it again. So now I moved. And tonight I'm drinking my favorite water. This is the Quick Trip uh, with a K, watermelon water. It's all good, Nolan. I figured it out. Yeah, nobody likes creepy whistling ever. I forgot that Pookie was the English major. Just kidding. All right, so this story is from Groundbreaking Eye, and it's called Please Lock Your Doors. It's been a year since the incident. It all started and ended the day after I took my last final at community college. I don't know if he was a stalker or if it was a break in gone weird. So from the beginning, I was so nervous that I was going to fail this one class and was not going to be able to receive my degree. Later in the day, I was out at the pool at my apartment complex with some friends and my roommate. When I checked my phone, I saw I passed my class. I got so excited. I told everyone, so we started celebrating because it was the last one before the final. It was 3 days before I was going to get to walk and graduate with this degree, and I decided we should have some fun before we all went our separate ways. And as it got later into the night, we decided not to go out and to stay in. We invited a couple more people over and went on with the night. Around 2 o'clock in the morning, people started to leave and head to bed. The only people left were my two roommates, both of the people they were dating, and one other friend. We were still messing around, and because our apartment was on the first floor next to the pool, we went to go night swimming. As soon as we were done with that, we were just hanging out. My roommates and the other friend left to all go somewhere else for a little while, which was fine, nothing out of the ordinary for me to be at home alone. I got some food and went to my room to hang out until they got back. The way my room is set up in our apartment is all the way in the back, furthest away from the front door and the patio door. My room is behind the kitchen, and you'd have to go through the whole apartment to get there. Because our apartment was in the front of the complex and near the pool, it was near the front gate. At the time, the gate was left open because it was broken. I've never had an issue with this living this close up front until this night. My room has one big window, and you can easily see in my room because I don't have blinds or curtains. I had a closet with a mirror, which, if you look in through the windows, you can see every part of my room in it. So I was waiting for my friends to get back. I fell asleep. The last time I looked at a clock, it was 3:30 in the morning. Also, key part is in my bedroom. I don't know what they're trying to say in this story, and I apologize. So I'm just going to try and go with it. Also, the key part in this. My bedroom light was on when I went to sleep. The next time I woke up was around 5:30. There were show flashes going off like it had a strobe light going off in the corner of my room. I woke up really confused and I thought it was my friends coming back to mess with me. Once my eyes got more adjusted because the room was now dark, I realized in fact it was not my friends messing with me, but a single man who was at least 6'1" wearing a green Nike hoodie. The hood on the corner of my room by the closet, holding a phone, taking pictures of me. Mind you, tiny, I had tiny Sophie shorts on with one of my legs hanging out of my covers. I don't think he realized I'd woken up when he really snuck in and said, "What the F?" And instead of coming at me or running out of my room, the man put the phone down, walked out of my room not saying anything, not in a panic, just walked out. Me being the dumbass I am, I ran after him saying, "Hey." I tried to follow him out, but once he got in front to the front door, I didn't see him anymore. I ran back inside, woke up all my roommates asking if they were messing around with me, and they said no, so I called the police. I looked around my room and saw the only missing thing was my laptop that was on my desk in the far corner of the room. The weirdest part about this whole story was the fact that my laptop was in the furthest part of my room with the door closed, and outside the kitchen on the counter was three other MacBook laptops, two wallets, and at least $300. But the only thing missing from the whole apartment was my laptop. Later, I found out that the front door and the patio door were never locked when everybody got back, and that the police couldn't find the guy or my computer. What made things worse was that the SIM disk from my camera was in the computer, so all my personal photos from that camera were now accessible to this guy. Some things I saw a couple days later when I was getting ready to move out freaked me out even more. Like I said earlier, if you looked in my window, you could see my closet mirrors in just about my whole room. One thing that was super noticeable was my tapestry. It was very distinct and different kind of tapestry. It has two wolves howling up at the moon, and it is all black and white. One day when I was packing my car, I happened to look up and it was starting to get dark. And as I looked up, I noticed in the apartment above mine, through the blinds, was the exact same tapestry as the one that was in my room. What creeped me out even more was the fact that I had a little purple light on. Okay, forget it. This story is stupid. All right, as I've been reading this crappy story, a lot has gone on here. So let's see what's gone on. Mike Monroe says the lost incident. Pookie says, one time I was at the beach with my dog alone. I don't know why. Then I saw someone look at me. Then I came back to my house. A red car came straight to me, and I was so scared. The person went out and was a guy. He was an old man, looked about 72 years old. Very specific, Pookie. And he said, "Hello, sweetheart. Are you lost?" I said, "No, this is my house." Then he said, "What if you come by my house?" I said no. Then he grabbed my arm and I backed away. I called the police and they came here in time. Well, thank God that happened. The guy went to jail. The end. Yimmy Yam says, "Bro, you kind of sound like James Franco. Big ups. Thank you." Pookie defended me, said, "I'm just talking quiet. Thank you." "I don't really talk like that," said Pookie. I'll still take the Pineapple Express regardless. Awesome. Nolan says, when I was in California, there was a small earthquake. Okay, awesome. You survived. And that brings us up to the present. Does anybody have any stories they want to share tonight? Last night, somebody started telling us that the moon landing was fake. Hey, Joy from Tucson. How are you? We're just hanging out by the campfire at a lake. The earthquake helped you get a cut on your arm and you had to get stitches? That's horrible. Awesome, Joy. Well, I'm glad that you could join us. This next story is from Cringy Lord 420. It's called Creepy Woods, and they insist this is a true story. Okay, so I don't really know how to start this story off, but it just happened like an hour ago, and I'm still spooked. So, a bit of a preface to me. Me and my friends are home alone right now, and have been for a few hours. Every time he comes over, we go to the woods by my house, and it's normally uneventful, with some throwing rocks and breaking trees and stuff, harmless fun. But this time, something else happened. Like I said, we're home alone and have been for a while. And while this happened, we were obviously home alone. We went outside to go to the woods, and the trip there was uneventful. But once we got there, something was off. Everything was dark. Tons of trees had been knocked down. The entire place was not like I even remembered it being. We kept going in, still having our usual harmless fun. And then, at one point, my friend turned to me and said we should turn back. I looked at my phone and decided it had only been 30 minutes, so we might as well stay longer, because it'll be a few hours until anyone would want us to be home anyway. We continued on, finding a few strange things like an old crushed Mountain Dew can, a toy boat which had been completely destroyed by the wind and water, and other things, and was probably even older than the can. Our plans were to go further than we'd ever gone before into the woods, which isn't really hard for us because we've barely been that deep anyway. After walking for a while, we came to a landmark we knew of. It marked that the landmark marked that it was the deepest we'd ever been in the woods. A while ago, when I was going far in, I came upon a bridge built on a log that fell over a river in the middle of the woods. However, one thing was different. There was something sitting on top of it. Whatever it was on top looked to be small and resembled the head of an animal. When we got closer and got a good view of it, it was a deer skull, purely white and clean, sitting on the bridge with no clue as to who put it there and where the rest of it was. Behind the river was a huge hill with a creepy small house on it. And while we were looking around, I heard a creak or some other high pitched noise from up towards it. Freaked out, we began to run, and from behind me, I hear my friend scream, and I hear him running behind me. We both kept running, 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 running. And once we reached the edge of the woods, we stepped onto the road. I asked him why he screamed, and he said he heard footsteps next to him. We quickly made our way home, and when we got home, the garage door was open. No, not knowing if it was left open or not, we ran inside, locking the door, checking the house, and turning the alarm on. Now we're sitting here, and by the time I finish this, it's nearly 2 hours since, and I still can't shake the fear of that eerie woods from me and you. What an abrupt end to a lousy story. I apologize. Alright, so a couple things have happened since I started reading that lousy story. Pookie says, so I was alone because my mom had to get something from the car. And I was looking around. We were at a random house my mom took me to. So then a creepy woman, I looked away and she came closer to me. So I closed my eyes and she was gone. I was super creeped out. So I just came running out the random house. It was probably the deer that you ran over and the head fled off the branch. Yeah, it could have been, but I doubt it. No, I know. I was just kidding, Pookie. I know that you added that, but unfortunately, or fortunately, I guess, after I hit the deer, some people pulled up with a truck, asked if I was okay, and they loaded the deer up, and it's going to be good eating for them. They're going to have venison chili for a long time. No, uh, it was a doe. It did not have antlers. But when you're out in the country and it's fresh roadkill, people like to eat it. So I was at a garage sale today, and I bought some more dowels. Oh yeah, deers are pretty heavy and they're dense and they do damage, just like when somebody hits a car or somebody gets run over by a car. Tell me you guys heard that howl. That was so loud. Not even that? All right, so these are my two new friends. You didn't hear the howl right then when I was holding the picture up? Nolan says, one time I was in a haunted house with my friends and we saw some ripe of a person, some shape of a person maybe. It did not look like a person, so we called the cops, but the cops didn't see anything. So the next day we went to that. Yeah, Pookie says she hates it when there's only a certain amount of words you can type and then you have to make a new sentence. Yeah, that's true. All right, so Nolan said they called the cops, but the cops didn't see anything. So the next day they went to that same spot, but there was nothing there but a deer head with blood all over it. Nicey nice. Yeah, I think it's mating season or something. These deer are super horny and they're just running in front of cars like crazy right now. So did anybody see the new dolls I got today? The pictures? Nolan, it's okay that it gets messed up. I think, oh, here, so Pookie's about to say what I was going to say. Every time I see someone type wrong, I always correct them. I don't know why. I think it's my new hobby. And I was just going to say, Pookie keeps correcting everybody, so I feel like Pookie's an English major. Whenever somebody types in the same sentence, forgot and me, it reminds me of the old Eminem song, You Forgot About Me. It's all good, guys. There's that moon. Let's see if you guys can see the lake. All right, I added some wood to the fire, but the unfortunately you can't see the lake. Well, awesome. Welcome to Cats Round and Flat. Welcome to our fun little group of friends from around the country. So, did you say you actually did hear the howls? Because they're awesome right now. Pookie says if I had died and the deer survived, she would be crying. I don't know. Awesome. Thanks, Two Cats. And that's kind of a nice, pleasing rhyme. Two cats round and flat, light as a feather, stiff as a board. Light as a feather, stiff as a board. Light as a feather, stiff as a board. Okay, I'm done now. Sorry about that. Well, Two Cats, if you give us a thumbs up and subscribe, you will never miss a live show. We do everything from this last week has been pretty much all fireside chats at the campfire. When we get back, there's going to be a lot of yard hunt building and all kinds of stuff. And we'll probably go for a ride looking for the Chicago Phantom / Mothman. All right, so Nolan says, one day me and my friends went fishing and saw a huge type of monster. So the next day we went back, we saw the monster again. So the monster rocked the boat over. So the next day we woke up. Pookie, are you listening with earbuds or your big Beats headsets? Well, with the headset, you should be able to hear it. Crazy. They've been quiet right now, but as soon as I hear them, I shut up and I'm like, listen, do you hear it? What's up, Yasmin? So Nolan says, and we were out on the land and we saw people, but they weren't normal people. These people had human ears on their arms. So we found a phone and called the police. The end. Well, Nolan, that's pretty freaky. So a friend of mine had a summer home in Indiana, and him and his girlfriend went to town to get something to eat. And on the way back to the lake, they had to drive through a cornfield. And it was kind of late, and they're driving through this cornfield, and it was a beautiful moonlit night, and they're in their convertible, and he was kind of driving slow for whatever reason, and they thought they heard a scream, so he slowed down, and in slowing down, like he thought he'd maybe hear the scream again, and out of nowhere, this woman came running out of the cornfield wearing nothing but like ripped clothing, and her bra was exposed. And he went to slow down to stop to like help this woman, and his girlfriend's like, no, no, go, 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 go. And he always wondered like what would have happened if he stopped to help her. And that is a true tragedy. Nothing made the papers or anything, so maybe she was okay. But in a situation like that, would you stop? Or would you keep going for your own safety? Two cats, round and flat. I'm happy that you love the paranormal. You're in the right place. I have a couple playlists, so my channel is mainly all things Halloween and paranormal and stuff like that. But I have a couple playlists that I put together of different paranormal videos that I've made, and real paranormal investigation. Like I don't over embellish or go crazy when stuff is happening, and that's why they might be boring. But I just like to try and get evidence, and I don't interpret it like other shows where they like put on the screen what you're hearing from EVPs and such. I let the people watching comment, and they're like, oh, at 1 minute 32 seconds I hear this. In fact, a couple times people point out things that I never even heard. Like in one case, the one of the EVPs calls me a burglar, which made sense because I was in an abandoned house. I was doing my job, so I was supposed to be there, but I set up this equipment while I was doing my job in the house. And so, for whatever reason, it kept saying burglar, that I'm a burglar, which made perfect sense because they didn't know that I was supposed to be there. So the spirits thought I was an intruder, otherwise known as the burglar. Another time, I was by the Des Plaines River and I was talking about John Wayne Gacy and how he dumped bodies in the Des Plaines River. And on the spirit box, it started calling me a bastard. But was it the spirit box calling me a bastard, or was it calling Gacy a bastard? Was it a Gacy victim? I don't know. Yikes, Pookie, that's harsh. Pookie says she would keep going because she would never help a stranger. All right, everybody, hang on for a second. I have to get this phone plugged in, otherwise, the battery's going to die. All right, so Nolan says, so there was this cornfield that we were next to, and there was a building next to the cornfield, and we heard screaming. And a boy came out of the building, and he was bleeding everywhere. And so, it's gone. Okay. Two Cat says, I've always wanted to try and connect with spirits, but I'm too afraid of spirit attaching and following me home. Well, true story, I actually stopped investigating for about 4 years because I was experiencing stuff coming home with me. Where my office is in my house is in the basement, and I have security cameras. And in the middle of January, when it was ice cold, frozen everything, so it wasn't insects or whatever, there were these huge orbs, and they were trying to get into my house. It was the craziest thing. The camera's on the corner of my house, and I watched these orbs like bounce off the cameras essentially. It was the weirdest thing ever. But that was just one of many situations. Another situation, I'd be watching TV and I'd hear things in the front hall closet just get disrupted and knocked over constantly. And so I stopped investigating for, like I said, 4 years, and everything's been quiet. So I've only started investigating this last week again. So we'll see what happens. Emery Randall says, I crapped my pants a minute ago, but didn't even notice due to the mesmerizing content of this live stream. Well, thanks for your sarcasm, Emerald. Emery. That's awesome. And Nolan said, and they didn't help the end. Well, the thing is the spirits don't always listen to you, and I suck at doing the protection rituals. Because Pookie said, just say you're not allowed to follow me home. Two cats, definitely, it is a valid fear. In fact, I've heard of television paranormal investigators leave like their shows because they got attachments that followed them home and ruined their home life. Uh, Pookie is correcting somebody again. Pookie, 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 Pookie. Pookie is the group fact checker and the grammatic expert. And when Pookie messes up, she blames her keyboard. So if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Consider giving a thumbs up. I'm going to go get some more wood. It's always the keyboard's fault. Always. Well, don't be afraid of the camera falling into the fire. I actually had to move the camera back. Last night it actually got so hot I had to put the camera in the cold grass to cool down because it shut down. But it's not going to fall into the fire. And right now we're about 10 feet from the fire because the fire is so hot. But last night we had the wind, and the wind actually made fire tornadoes, which was pretty cool. All right, Nolan. Same, it looks like it will. Well, don't worry, it's not going to burn up. I I assure everybody everything is completely under control. Nolan wishes everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Sawe, the voice of logic and reason from the 67th layer of hell, says the camera will be fine. I agree. Oh, and now the wolves have moved to the other side of the lake. Before they were off to my right, and now I hear them off to my left. But it's very quiet, so I don't think the camera will even pick it up. So I don't have to be quiet about it. Well, happy Hanukkah to you, Salway. And Nolan wants to see the camera burn alive. Two Cats Round and Flat asks, where do you get your stories? Do you tell more of your own personal experiences? I have a few, but they may be too long to share in a comment. So my stories are 75% my own, 15% stuff I looked up on the internet that are free, like free, royalty free, spooky stories, and the others are user submitted. Salwe, he, I'm assuming it's a he, but they always have great stories. And the last 3 nights, his stories have been fantastic. So it's a variety, but I have a lot of stories that have things that have really happened to me, or people like to come up and tell me stories, and I repeat them. Thank you, Pookie. Pookie says to Two Cats Round and Flat, you can basically tell your story in multiple comments. And that is true. That's how Sawe tells his. It takes a little bit longer for the stories to come through, but I patiently wait and read them, and then sometimes I even reread it for the whole story to come through all in one complete, cohesive story. Thank you, Sawe. So I'm very patient, Two Cats. If you have a great story, I am all ready. You just type away, send, and I will read it and recap it. Pookie wants to know who else is a girl, or is it just me? Well, Pookie, I don't think you're the only woman watching or listening. Pookie, Nolan wants you to tell another story. What's up, Brendan? Well, I think it was a goof. That fire is getting hotter and more intense, guys. Well, it said that Nolan retracted a message. So if you didn't retract it, then a spirit did. So when I was a little kid, I had this reoccurring dream. It happened about 4 or 5 times. And every time it happened, the phone would ring in the morning and make the dream end. So in this dream, I'd wake up and I'd be thirsty and I'd go into my kitchen to get a glass of water. And I'd climb out of bed, and as soon as I opened my bedroom door and looked out, the entire pathway to my kitchen was a cemetery, a ginormous cemetery. So I'd go in the kitchen, drink some water, and I'd start seeing the different headstones and tombstones. And the only one I could read would be XYZ family member. And then all of a sudden the phone would start ringing, and I'd wake up and I'd hear my mother answer the phone, and then I'd hear my mother start screaming because XYZ relative had died. And so this dream actually predicted the deaths of 5 of my relatives when I was a little kid. And that is completely true. A great grandfather, a great grandmother, um, an aunt, a great aunt, and an uncle. Two cats, are you typing? All right, off to my right, there are a barrage of wolves howling. Zawe, they're definitely not werewolves. All right. Two Cats Round and Flat says, Short into it, my family thinks we are cursed because my great grandfather provoked and dared a demon to approach him in a Catholic cemetery. Apparently, the demon did and cursed our family for this. So, the people next to me are outside drinking now, and now they're howling with the wolves. So, you did not hear wolves just now. Two Cats Round and Flat continues. Our family's quite superstitious, so I take this with a grain of salt. But weird things do happen to our family. Yeah, sometimes entire families have interesting interactions with the real world and the paranormal world, and sometimes even interdimensional creatures or beings. But these wolves now, okay, so they're going off on the right and the left, and I don't know if they're communicating with each other or what. Yes, I'm in the middle of a national forest. Thank you, River of No Return. Yeah, it's a little windy tonight, and it is safer for me to have the fire in the barrel rather than burning down the woods. Yes, I like to explore. Yeah, I never want to be known as that guy that burned the woods down. But I don't know if you guys can see this. Is a beautiful? No, you can't see. It's too dark. It is a beautiful fire pit. I have a piece of metal over the hole, but this is just safer. Yeah, the woods are awesome. During the week, nobody's here, and then on the weekends, like people come up, so it's kind of annoying when people are here. But it's not just my woods; it's for everyone. River of No Return says, I just came into you speaking about paranormal stuff. I've seen some interesting things out in the sticks, southern Idaho and Montana, northern Nevada too. Go on, do tell, River of No Return. Pookie, did you fall asleep? River of No Return says, I'm Native American, so I do believe there are things out there that the ancestors knew about. Last year on 11/11, we encountered little people. Later, we found out there were ancient burial grounds nearby. That is pretty amazing. And I do believe that when non Native Americans mess around with Native American spirits, bad things happen. River of No Return says, we are going back in 3 weeks to check things out again. It's right outside of a national park as well. Well, that's awesome. Please report back. Let us know. What do you think of Skinwalker Ranch and the Skinwalkers? Oh, wow. It's in the high plains desert. That's pretty cool. Oh, Nolan is 50% Native American. That's awesome. Oh, there's a big fish out here in the lake. I do not have my flashlight, but you can hear it. It must be trying to get like a fly or something on top of the water. All right, River of No Return says Skinwalker Ranch is there. Hold on, Skinwalker Ranch, there is more going on there than just skinwalkers. I think there's some portals there, but that's just me. The ancestors drew pictographs of portals all over the Southwest. Folks folks say high strangeness can be encountered within a few hundred miles of that ranch. Yep, I believe it. Yeah, you're right. I should record during the day so everybody can see it. All right. Well, I'll tell you guys what. I will show you a video right now, but it's not scary. So that's why I've never shared this stuff with you guys. But I'll let you guys see what But we're sitting right next to the lake. So this is Penny. That's Cooper, the big one. And this is the lake out here. She's a blue heeler / Australian Shepherd, which is the same dog. And Cooper is a Rottweiler and German Shepherd. But she's the boss. The little one's the boss. The big one's afraid of her. Thank you, River. Well, I don't think you guys saw this. This is the daytime of what happened to my truck when I hit the deer the other day. This right here is the deer's head impacted everything. And there's Penny and Cooper again. Did you guys hear that? That was actually the loons. All right, River of No Return says, Noland, we were at the very far corner of Colorado getting ready to pop into Utah. We saw a weird guy hundreds of miles from any town in a business suit, walking at night with a weird smile on his face. We were going to pull over and sleep in our car, but it made my husband keep driving for another 65 miles before we finally did pull over. I can't explain it, but the guy didn't look real. It was bizarre to see someone out there, dressed like that in the middle of nowhere. He gave a weird vibe. It was around 3 in the morning. Oh, thanks, River No Return. That was awesome. Noland, honestly, I think Pookie fell asleep because this is around the time when Pookie falls asleep during the stream, and then in the morning she comments that she fell asleep. Totally fine. I could be wrong. She might pop back in, but generally, this is when she falls asleep. All right, let me get a little bit more wood. I'll be right back. I think so far tonight, River of No Return and Cat, Round and Flat, you both have the best stories, I think. Nolan's is probably third place, but I'm just happy that people are contributing because usually it's Salway holding up, uh, holding his own with all his stories. Nolan says, I have seen a whole bunch of people that act weird at Skinwalker Ranch. Well, if it's a TV show, people over embellish on TV all the time. That's one of the problems with like why I don't watch paranormal shows anymore because it's always uh, they're very fake and they have to do things to get people to keep watching them. But that's why I like to ask people who have been there or been in the area because they can tell you a whole new perspective of what's really going on. River of No Return says, hey, I just came across your channel. I'm happy to share my strange stories. I don't do it often. Some aren't ready to shift their paradigm yet. But as I said, the ancestors have always known. You are correct, and thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for sharing. I appreciate it more than you know. River goes on to say, I've been side-eyed on some channels when I first tried to share my little people story. Well, it sucks. River also says, I think the Skinwalker caves on the Dine Nation's lands are creepier than Skinwalker Ranch. Huh. That's interesting. So the main thing with my channel is it's my channel and I love all things paranormal, I can't even talk anymore, paranormal and Halloween and building yard haunts and professional haunted houses. And so I love when people contribute to my channel and have their experiences because I think it makes it better for everyone. Thank you for correcting me. I am horrible at pronouncing damn near everything, so I'm not even going to try and pronounce it even though you spelled it out the way I should say it. I apologize. I'm not ignorant, I'm just illiterate at some things sometimes, and my pronunciations suck. And I'm open and honest enough to admit that. also think I have a speech impediment sometimes, so there's that. Like for me, it took me forever to learn how to say Chief Chichipinque, and his white name is Chief Robinson. And we were actually headed there on Thursday night when I crashed my truck. But the backstory is on Sunday we went on a road trip from the Chicago area to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and we went to the Paulding Light. The story behind the Paulding Light is that um, for many years, like the late 1800s to 1900s, this light has appeared, and it all started appearing in local lore after a railroad brakeman got hit by a train and was decapitated. And so the legend is the railroad brakeman is out warning others of trains with his lantern, and he's out looking for his head. Now, I've been to the Paulding Light hundreds of times, and it's not far from a reservation. And I'm not even going to try and pronounce that tribe's name, but it looks like Lac de Desert, and it's pronounced completely different than how it looks. But I don't even try to pronounce it. But anyway, so um, some of some of the locals from the tribe told me, well, no, this is not um, the railroad brakeman story. This has been going on. Our ancestors have been talking about this for hundreds and hundreds of years, and the light still appears to this day. So on Thursday, when I left here, I laid out the way we were going to go. Correct. Yes. So according to the ancients, that this light had been going on before trains even existed. Therefore, there could be a Native American aspect to it. Um, there's been all kinds of speculations, and even recently they're just trying to say that it's headlights, but it's not, because when there's cars, the light doesn't come out. When there's no cars, the light doesn't come out. Like it does whenever it wants. So like whether there's cars or not, the light is either not there or there. And so there's no correlation between vehicles and seeing this light. They have never told me what they believe it is. Not specifically, and nothing that I can share publicly, because things that were told to me were private. And if somebody tells me that something's private, I keep it that way. River says, I wonder what the native ancestors in that area believed it to be. Oh, yeah, I already went over that. Okay. So I don't know if there are pictographs anywhere of that. I've never asked. But it's one of the things, correct, these things should be kept sacred. Um, that would be fascinating if there were. I never asked, I never knew to ask, and I never thought to ask. But every now and again, even when I'm walking in the woods, I wonder, are these sacred mounds? Because there are mounds all over the place. And some of them have just been left to history. But anyway, so on Thursday, I had plotted a route. And so we were going to look for hitchhiking ghosts along the interstate, and then we were going to wind up at Robinson Woods. Correct. I'm sure some uh, river of no return says, I'm sure somewhere there is, but you may never find out. And that is true. Um, but anyway, so our ultimate destination was on Thursday, was back to the Chicago area, and we were going to go to the Robinson family burial ground. And so Chief Chichi Pinque, I believe he was a Black Hawk, and he saved a bunch of white settlers. And him and his family were given this huge swath of land, and other Native Americans got wind of it and were really upset that A, he saved the white settlers, and that B, they rewarded him by giving him all this land. And Chief Robinson and his family were slaughtered. And so their burial ground uh, is a haunted place. So, and it's open 24/7. So we were going to stop there on the way home and see what we could see. So on the way there, I hit a deer, and it was about an hour from this property here. So I was able to find a nice local country bar, park there, and they gave me Gorilla Tape and a bar, and I was able to pry the fender off of my tire and drive the hour. It actually took an hour and a half to get back here because I had to drive really slow, because if I turned the wheel too much, it would hit the bumper. And so I got it back here, and then my the rental car place up here is closed till Monday, and they didn't have any vehicles available till Monday. So I'm still waiting till Monday, and then I'm gonna get a ride about 2 hours south of here where the rental car place is. So we will do that adventure soon. Um, and maybe we won't do the dash cam. Maybe I'll just drive there, and then we'll do a live from there. Thank you, River. I appreciate that. Well, if anybody has any more stories they want to share tonight, this would be the perfect time. Otherwise, I'm going to do a poll if we should shut it down or keep going. Yeah, I've tried smudging. Hey, Sawe. I've tried smudging and doing that different stuff, and I think I do it wrong because whatever it's supposed to do for you, it does not protect me. It's the exact opposite. Hey, Sawe, I'm glad you're still there. You have any stories? Fair enough. Thanks, River. All right, Nolan. Well, good night, my friend, if you're going to bed. Sorry I had to silence you, but you were getting a little bit too silly, so I just needed to knock you back into reality. But you're welcome here, and Just keep it on the serious. Don't be silly. And River, thank you so much for sharing. Sawe, are you telling me you're still here because you want to tell a story, or you're just letting me know you're still here? Good night, River. Nice to meet you. Thanks for subscribing, and we'll see you again soon. All right, so far the poll is 50-50. Keep streaming is 67%. No is ended is 33%. Now we're 60-40 for keep it going. 40% end it. The Upper Peninsula of Michigan, Les Phillips. That's right. And the moon's not bright enough so nobody can see the lake, but it's there. Well, 3 a.m. is the witching hour, and it's also 2 hours away from me right now. And so I don't have 2 more hours of content unless more people contribute their stories. My brain's too tired to think, to repeat all my oral stories that I have. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. give us a thumbs up. So, Les, I stream, uh, well, lately it's been like 6 days a week, and it's usually from 10 p.m. Central ish, like between 10 and 11 Central, and we've been going till 1 or 2 in the morning Central. And I might be doing a stream tomorrow night. I'm not 100% sure because Monday morning I have an early appointment to get picked up and get the rental truck so I can head back to the Chicago area. For those of you just joining us, on Thursday, I hit a deer on the way back. Um, so I'm stranded at the haunted lake. And so, less so you know, we do all kinds of stuff from adventures to like this last couple days have been just enjoying the campfire. And then I do this big yard haunt. So we build stuff for the yard haunt and all kinds of stuff. So, yes, I am from the Chicago area. I'm a part time Youper and part time Chicagoan. Yes, lately there has been a visitor to different people's campfires here. And the other night I showed a photo from last summer of the visitor at my fire. Let me see if I can find the photo. Oh, St. Louis, Missouri. Awesome. An hour north. That's cool because St. Louis is terrifying. All right, so we're going to end the poll. 67% say keep it going, 33% say end it. And so let me get it to focus. Okay. So here's the fire, just taking random pictures of the fire. And these are all sequential. Oops, sorry, I almost dropped the camera or the phone. Oops, hold on. Sorry, guys, I need 2 hands for this. All right, so check it out. See right there? Look at that guy. Yeah, that would be totally cool. Totally cool. Just let me know. My email is egscary1031 at gmail.com. It's also on my, I'm sure I have it listed on the YouTube channel. So I think I'm going to go for about 30 more minutes. Um, so the photo I showed you guys, um, so the photo I showed everybody, so I was talking to other people. We had like a lake meeting. All right. So this is a private lake. We're in the national forest, and we provide our own, uh, we maintain our own roads. And so during the summer and fall, we have a crew come and they put new gravel down, pound it all out. And then we pay for a private snowplow company to come and plow the grounds. So every couple of months we have meetings regarding this. So at one of the meetings, I heard somebody talking that something spooked their grandkids at their fire. And so I walked over and I started listening, and somebody else was saying, yeah, this guy showed up in pictures at our fire as well. So then I whipped out my photo, and everybody freaked out because I guess the picture of the dude is very similar, in all these cases. So whatever it is going to different fires in this on this lake and freaking people out. So Chris Newton says, "Why do I refuse to believe in this type of stuff?" Well, could be a variety of reasons, Chris. I don't know you, but maybe you're not open-minded, or maybe you're raised with strict religious values that tell you that this is not possible, or this is satanic or demonic, which it's not. And maybe you've never experienced anything on your own because you're closed. Open up and see the world, and you'd be surprised at the things that you can find are really out there. That's true. And I like to say I'm the biggest skeptic, um, because sometimes I see stuff when I'm investigating these places, and it's hard for me to even believe that I'm seeing this or even hearing this. And one of the things I feel I do differently when I do post my investigations, number one, all my investigations, I'm alone. Number two, even if I want to shriek or yell or scream, I keep it inside because I want the viewer to tell me what they saw. And that by people listening to the EVPs or listening to the things on the spirit box, I'm not suggesting what I heard. They're telling me what they heard. And they put like in the comments, at such and such time I heard this, or such and such time I heard that. And for me, like, that's the verification and the proof that I need, because other people are experiencing through my media, um, like what I've presented. But I tell people that paranormal investigation and investigating places, it's like fishing. It's very boring. And then all of a sudden you get a bite and it makes it all worth it. And for us, the bites are evidence. Correct. Yes. Like I own all of the equipment that all of the TV shows use, and I utilize them on my streams and in my videos. And we just did a stream where we went to the Irish Hollow Cemetery, and in the stream, we were running the spirit box, and like people actually heard like the things coming through. And I actually set the streaming camera and the spirit box alone, and I went and took some still and video with my camera, and uh, they reported back to me like what they heard when I was gone, and they even said like for a period of time when I was gone, nothing was interacting with the equipment, and then as soon as I came back close, they started interacting. So I don't know if it had to do with me, like they're following me around personally, or whatever, but it was interesting. But I never use my own equipment at my own homes because I don't want to know. And I have enough, I've had enough times where stuff has followed me home. And I actually stopped investigating for about 4 years because it got really bad where I was having just a lot of disruptive things happening in my life. And it had to have been things coming home with me. But I'm not somebody that like the paranormal, and like I try and find a logical explanation. Like not everything that happens is paranormal, and like if I'm out somewhere and doing a live stream or whatever, and something's going on, like I'll say, hey, by the way, this is happening right here, so this is not this is not what you think it is, even though we all wish it was. But I'm gonna go grab another log. I'll be right back, guys. So Les says, I have heard that when you're done investigating a place, if you burn some sage around you and others, things won't attach and follow you home. So I have heard that as well. And every time I've done anything having to do with saging, the exact opposite has happened to me. So for me, nothing really works. And for whatever reason, I'm the kind of person that when I'm out places, people walk up to me and they think they know me and they start telling me very personal things. So I can only imagine that maybe the supernatural world sees me in the same light. I don't know. I don't claim to be psychic. but I do have weird intuitions about stuff. Like so last week or 2 weeks ago, for my yard haunt, we were painting creepy dolls. And so I do viewer driven. So the viewers get to pick what we're going to do to the different dolls for the decoration. So this scene we're doing, I'm going to have hundreds of creepy dolls that are infesting this farmhouse. Anyway, so without knowing it, I one of the people that was interacting the most that night, um, I called them out by name when we finished doing a doll, we everybody names the doll. So somebody said, e.g., your turn, you name this one. So I named it, and it turned out that I named it the person's name that was watching the stream, and they emailed me like that. That really hit close to home. That like you named me. Well, I don't know how I did that, but that was the name that came to me. So whatever, I don't know. But I know I creeped out at least one person unintentionally. So we have about 15 more minutes before I kill the stream. If anyone out there has any stories they want to add to tonight, that would be awesome. And if you hear singing in the background, it's one of my drunk neighbors who happen to have I think they're watching soccer and now they're singing. All right, well, I will tell you guys an original story. I've told this one before, but I don't know that the people that have heard this one are even listening right now. So, I was working for a house cleanout company. And so, this house, we get there and it's like the people just left. Everything was looking like somebody was going to come right back home. The only thing that made the house unique was that around the perimeter of every single living space, so whether it was the living room, the bedrooms, the kitchen, the den, this one had like a back porch area where you could sit out and it was screened in. Every single square inch of the um, of the building had these 1 gallon water jugs, and they're filled all the way up, um, all the way around. So the other thing that was unique about this one is that it was a rental property, and the landlord hired us to clean this out. And the instructions were that if we go in the basement, underneath the staircase, there's a panel. In the panel, we had to check and make sure that this television was still there, and they and report back to him. If the television was still there, he wanted us to screw the panel shut so that the television stays with the with this rental property. So like we thought that was weird. We thought the water jugs were weird. So we're cleaning out this house because it was a rental house. The entire house was like when you rent it, you get the whole house. It was a 3-bedroom house with an attic and a basement. So we're cleaning the place out, and the first thing we had to do was dump all these jugs of water, which I later was reading, and those were some kind of protection from something. So whoever put those jugs all the way around the perimeter, they were using the water to protect them from something, which in its own is frightening. So we're cleaning the place out, we're working in the basement, and in the basement there was this dresser, and the dresser had been there for a very long time, so long that with the dampness of a basement, it was deteriorating. So like as soon as you touched the dresser, the whole thing pretty much fell apart. So in one of the bottoms of the drawers, written in pink crayon, it said, "Everyone and everything in this house is evil." And that was like creepy. I actually took a picture of it, and I still have that picture. And one day I'll post it on YouTube so people can see the picture of the bottom of the drawer. So fast forward, the whole house is now empty. So the next phase of our job we were assigned to was we had to do what's called maid service. So we had to clean, like wipe it down, clean everything. So I was in the basement. Other people were upstairs working. So while I'm in the basement, I'm mopping the floor. And I don't know if you've ever mopped the floor before, but if there's a spot on the floor, you have to like work at it with the mop. So I was working on a spot, and as I'm rubbing out the spot in pink crayon, okay, pink crayon, the word "fu" is right in the spot that I'm mopping. And as I hit the "fu" with the mop, you can see the little crackles of pink crayon on the floor from this thing. And like that like was really, really weird. And it happened so fast. But like I wiped through it, and it was off the floor already, and could just see the little crackles of the pink crayon. Then a couple minutes later, I felt every hair on my body stand up. And it turned out it was this ball of energy, and I put my arm up, and I could actually see the hairs on my arm stand up when I put my arm in this ball of energy. And then this same ball started trying to get like into my neck, is the only way I can describe it. I was like fighting this thing not to let it go in my neck. So I holler upstairs for somebody to come down. So this guy named James comes running down, and I'm like, "James, you gotta, like, this thing is trying to get in my neck. Like, come here, put your arm here." And he put his arm up, and sure enough, the hairs on his arm went up too. And he immediately started doing the smart thing. He started chanting the Lord's Prayer. And as he chanted the Lord's Prayer, like the ball of energy like started to dissipate, and you could actually see, and I could feel the hairs like going down on my body. So like we couldn't even believe it. All we wanted to do is get done and get out of this house. So we got everything done. It's now like 11:30, 12 o'clock at night. Everything's done. We take the pictures proving that, the work that we did, lock up the house, walk out of the house, and we're walking to our truck. And for whatever reason, at the exact same time, we both turn around and we look back at the house. And in the attic window, there's the silhouette of a man and a woman staring back at us. And we just drove away. Like, that's it. Done, done, done. All right, so there are a couple messages that have come through while I was talking. So Les Phillips says, "I was in the military for 22 years. Thank you for your service, Les. That's awesome. All right, I was in the service for 22 years, and one of the places I was deployed to was in southern Ecuador. And we saw some light anomalies that were circling the Andes Mountains at one point. They flew in and out of one of the mountains and then flew down into the valley and went into the ground. And we didn't see them any longer. That lasts for around 30 minutes or so. And then, and when it was done, we were told by a full bird colonel not to speak of what we had saw to anyone. Well, you just broke that, but that's amazing. That is. So, do you guys think that was extraterrestrial or uh, like a foreign threat, like or something not of this world? And TB says, "I dare you to go fishing in real life." Well, their lake is right here, and I don't fish. I don't eat fish, and it's like there's no point in me fishing if I'm not going to eat it. When my grandfather was still alive, he liked to eat the fish. I would fish with him, and that was the last time I went fishing. But this lake, I like to swim in. I don't fish here because, like I said, I don't eat fish. Well, Les, thank you for your story. That was awesome. Salwe, are you still there? Pookie, are you still there? Noland, are you still there? Kat, are you still there? I think that River of No Return went to sleep already. All right. Oh, hey, Sawe. All right. Uh, Les says we were quite a ways from it, but had to guess they were about 20 to 15 feet in length and not really sure if it was terrestrial, extraterrestrial, or what, to be honest. Okay, well, that's cool. All right, well, I was just saying, hey, good night to everybody. We got about 6 more minutes. I wanted to thank you guys for being here. Uh, what did you guys think of my last story? Les said while they were watching that anomalous lights that they had the feeling of dread. Yeah, I think I would too. I actually told a story yesterday. Um, so, not too far away from here, when I was a kid, my family had a cabin up here. Thanks to cats. And actually, that is a completely 100% true story. I actually have a photo, and I'll pull that up, of the dresser insert. In fact, somewhere I think I still have the dresser insert. I saved it. Um, Thanks, Les. So, um, not too far away from where this property is, my family had a property growing up. And so I've been coming up this way my whole life. And so my parents were antiquers and they loved to go antiquing. So on Highway 45, just north of Watersmeet, Michigan, there used to be an antique store called Northern Lights Antiques. And it was on a farm. Um, I believe that the woman that owned the antique store was like the caretaker of the farm, and her and her husband lived in the house. And then like somebody else farmed the land. So over the years, like going there, the lady was always nice to me in particular, and she always like um, told me stuff. So one of the things that I remember, and it sticks in my mind to this day, hey Jello Puddin, um, to this day, and I told the story last night, but Les, you're new, and I just wanted, it relates to your story. Um, but anyway, so to this day, it still sticks with me, and I still look at the sky up here. But during the winter, she was home alone. The antique store was closed, which was just, it consisted of a large pole barn on her property. And so she's home alone. And for whatever reason, it's like 6 o'clock at night. She's waiting for her husband to get home from work. And it was snowy. She said there was probably about um, 2 or 3 feet of snow, like on the ground at that time, not blocking the roads or anything, but like in accumulation. And for whatever reason, she looked out the window because she had seen a light like reflect. So she thought maybe it was her husband coming down the driveway. So she looks out the window and she saw like 4 or 5 crafts, and they were completely silent because she opened the window when she saw it. She heard nothing. It was just peaceful, still, cold winter air. And she saw these crafts, and they had these, what she described as intelligent light beams coming off of them, like they're searching for something, like flashlights, but they're like mechanical. And she watched them. I think she said for like 5 or 10 minutes, and then all of a sudden, in the distance, she heard a helicopter that was really loud and it got close enough that it started shaking the house. And then what she described as 2 jet fighters, like an F-16 type, and they like buzzed over her house. But as the helicopter started approaching, these crafts just went shooting up, up, and away. Made no sound. They were just gone. And so I always watch the sky when I'm up here because of her story. And she swore it's 100% true. Like she really saw it, and it really creeped her out. So I'm going back and looking through what I missed while I was talking. And thank you, Two Cats. I appreciate very creepy and smart. Thank you. Les says that was an interesting story. Thank you. And then Jello Putin, who's been quiet all night, said, freaky good stuff, bro. Appreciate it. Oh, thank you, Jello. He's been lurking and listening, and he says, I have a voice perfect for this. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I honestly believe that I have a speech impediment. I hate my voice, but thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Today, when I was hunting for creepy dolls, this one lady like told me that looking into my eyes is like looking into the ocean. They're so blue. And I got her to give me the dolls for $1. So that was a good deal. All right, guys. Thank you so much for being here with me tonight. Hopefully, you enjoyed the fire, the stories, and all that good stuff. And, oh, what do we got? Oh, hold on a second. Everything's going crazy on here now. Oh, Jello Pudding. By the way, the thing you brought up the other night, I just for shits and giggles, I went on Rumble and I searched moon landing, uh, and as soon as you pop that up, there is something from WikiLinks where they have the outtakes of the filming of the moon landing, and they say it was filmed in the desert in Nevada. So that goes along with what you were saying, talking about last night. Les Phillips says, I have heard many stories like that as well. When we saw those lights, the light anomalies, we heard no noises coming from them, only about 2 miles away. So we really should have heard something. Yeah, definitely should have. And the clapping you hear in the background is the neighbors. I think they're listening to soccer or watching soccer. I have no idea. I don't do sports. But like I was saying, thank you all for watching. I appreciate everybody. Have the most dreadful night ever. I hope you have nightmares. And I'm going to try and do this tomorrow night for a very short time because I have to be up real early on Monday to get my rental truck so I can head back to Chicago. So, me love you guys long time. Good night. Be safe. Later.